So I'm hanging out here in my office with David and Kendall Hibiske, who are on staff here. And I have just been so blown away by the responses that we've gotten from the email that we sent out with your survey, the survey questions on relationships. We got like over 500 responses, which just means that there are a ton of questions. What we noticed from the surveys is that most of the questions are in the subject of relationship communication. So what do you do when you don't see eye to eye, and how do you communicate? So I'm looking forward to doing some of these videos actually with Stacy. She just had surgery recently, so she's not quite back to talking fully, but when she does get there, we'll do some videos together as well. But Kendall and David, I want to ask you the question. So talk a little bit about, you guys have been married now for a decade. Talk about what you do in a relationship, specifically somebody you love, you're dating, when you don't see eye to eye with them. Give us one big idea that we can chew on.
Oh, geez.
We always see eye to eye.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, absolutely. Man, I think it really comes down to the question of conflict resolution, communication. How do you work through problems?
Yeah.
I think a lot of that does start when you're dating. I think because you start to establish the patterns and norms you're going to carry into marriage when you're dating. So if you have a lot of the questions, like we actually had, you brought up the question about like our past. Tell them what we asked each other.
When we were dating, we made an intentional conversation around what's something that you experienced in your family of origin in the way you resolve conflict that you want to bring into your new relationship, and what's something you don't from your family of origin, because we all have both, in our families. None of our families are perfect. So it's deciding on the front end, what are the patterns we want to establish?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think to answer that, I mean, it really started for us when we were dating, answering some of those questions, saying, when we look down the road into marriage, what do we want to do? Like, how are we going to operate in this?
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of couples get in trouble is when they don't see eye to eye, is they've never talked about proactively, in other words, before they don't see eye to eye, how are we going to handle the problem when the problem comes up?
Yeah.
So I think if you can get on the front end of that, talk through how we're going to handle it before you even get there, it's going to help you work through it. And there's been a couple other things that have been helpful for us in kind of working through that. So.
Yeah, so I was going to share. So the one thing that we kind of really decided together that we would bring into our relationship is that we would resolve our conflicts quickly. And we would not allow them to hang over and to bleed over for days and weeks, but we would resolve them quickly. Sometimes it doesn't mean in the moment. If we're upset, we might take a little bit of time, but we'll decide together to take some time and not walk out on it. And then we'll come back together to go back to it and figure out a way to make it work and compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ephesians 4 says, don't let the sun go down upon your anger. So we don't...
We take that literally.
We don't go to sleep unless there's peace. We may still have to come back and do a follow-up. We also ask for and extend forgiveness to each other. I think there's real power when you have an argument or conflict, and when you number one, just straight up own your junk. I think that's a big deal to it. It's just own your crap that you brought into it, and then just go to the person, and when you actually ask for forgiveness, there's something real powerful in that. One, it's biblical and God tells us to do it, but I think there's something real powerful in the dynamic. And then as we've even been talking about our language, the phrase that we're teaching our kids on conflict, can you tell them that?
Yeah. Talk it out, keep it clear.
That's good. That's a lot right there in 3.5 minutes. So let me just kind of summarize what they said was about that idea of being proactive. So talking about what you're going to do before you get into the situation, defining what you're going to do in war while you're in peace. Number 2 is to really talk it out and keep things clear. So that means owning our part of a conflict. That means seeking forgiveness. That means apologizing when we've made mistakes. And it's amazing how, even in the Bible, there's so much about communication. And when we do things God's way, we invite God into the process. It really does make a difference. And so we're super excited here at Echo.Church to be kicking off this brand new teaching series this weekend called Swipe Right. We're going to take a lot of the questions that people sent in. One this weekend we're really going to focus on is the belief around finding the right one. And we believe a lot about that, both in dating and in marriage, that creates a lot of problems. And I want to unpack some myths and liberate our church and you personally this weekend. So we're excited about that. And then we're going to take some time over the next couple of weeks to continue to address the close to 500 questions that have come in, and just want to resource and add value to you to help you in the most important relationships in your life. So thanks for taking a few minutes to join us. I hope you have a great day.